Good evening. Welcome to the April 18th edition of the Downers Grove Village Council meeting. As is our tradition, we'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rosa, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Barnett,
Here.
Commissioner Jose,
Here.
Commissioner Wallace,
Here.
Commissioner Sadowski-Fugit,
Here.
Commissioner Colavani,
Here.
Commissioner Gilmartin,
Here.
Commissioner Glover.
Here. Great to see everybody tonight. Several points during our meeting tonight, there will be opportunities for public comment. The public comment portions of our meetings are important and valued parts of every council meeting. We have provisions for public comment at each active and first reading agenda item, again later in the meeting on items not specific to the agenda. If you plan to speak, please keep the following in mind when you come to the podium. Please state your name for the record, address your comments to me as the chair of the meeting, keep comments to 5 minutes or less, avoid repeating what others have already said, please keep your comments to one visit to the podium per subject, and remember that comments are most effective when they touch on subjects within the control of this governing body. Item 4 on our agenda is a series of proclamations. We have 3 this evening. The first concerns Earth Day. Whereas the first Earth Day was enacted in 1970 and engaged over 20 million Americans to advocate for a cleaner environment, and whereas humankind continues to face real global challenges affecting every community, including degradation of ecosystems, food and water shortages, and global and local climate changes. Whereas all species play a unique role in the complex web of life and contribute to the ecosystems and services on which all life on Earth depends, and hence protecting our species is crucial to the survival of the planet and its inhabitants. Whereas many plants, wild animals, and pollinators live in urbanized landscapes, and cities, therefore, have a responsibility to examine the ecological impacts of their actions and consider how to protect biodiversity. Whereas we are all caretakers of our planet, and our obligation to combat climate change should start in each of our own lives, cities should focus attention on reducing the environmental burden that results from the delivery of municipal services. Whereas the environmental education, resource conservation, waste reduction, and environmental protection are necessary to ensure a sustainable future, and whereas it is understood that sustainability will only be achieved by meeting the needs of the present without compromising the needs of future generations, and whereas Earth Day is an annual reminder of the constant need for environmental activism, stewardship, commitments, and sustainability efforts, and whereas every year on April 22nd, men, women, and children participate in environmental stewardship activities such as stream cleanups, planting trees, educational events, and celebrating sustainable accomplishments. Now therefore, I, Robert T. Barnett, Mayor of the Village of Downers Grove, have the distinct honor of proclaiming April 22nd, 2023 as Earth Day, and I encourage all residents, businesses, and institutions to participate in programs and activities that will protect our environment and contribute to a healthy, sustainable future. Dated this 18th day of April, 2023, Downers Grove, Illinois. Second proclamation this evening is related. It has to do with Arbor Day. Excuse me. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed that the Nebraska Board of Agriculture set aside a special day for the planting of trees, and that first Arbor Day was observed by the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, reminding us that one person's initiative can make a lasting and meaningful difference. Whereas the last Friday in April has been designated as Arbor Day to encourage the planting of trees and their care and protection from insects, diseases, mistreatment that destroy their beauty and usefulness. Whereas trees improve the physical environment of our community by producing oxygen, absorbing carbon dioxide, reducing erosion of topsoil by wind and water, assisting in the mitigation of stormwater accumulation, and providing habitat for wildlife. Whereas trees add much more to our community by providing beauty, moderating temperature, and thereby helping reduce heating and cooling needs, increasing property values, bringing about a sense of place and well-being among the concrete and asphalts of urban America, and enhancing the economic vitality of businesses, thereby improving the quality of life for years to come. Whereas the Village of Downers Grove has received national recognition for nearly 4 decades for its tree care program by again being named Tree City USA for our community's management and care of nearly 23,000 trees located in our public parkways. Now therefore, I, Robert T. Barnett, Mayor of the Village of Downers Grove, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 28, 2023, to be Arbor Day in the Village of Downers Grove, and encourage all residents to plant and care for their trees now and for future generations. Dated this 18th day of April, 2023, Downers Grove, Illinois. We have one more proclamation that's pretty special. This is not an annual thing. We have a Historian of the Year proclamation. Whereas Willis and Shirley Johnson are being presented with the Downers Grove Historical Society's Historians of the Year for 2023, which was established in 2013 to honor those who have significantly promoted and preserved Downers Grove history. Whereas the Johnson family has owned and operated the historic Tivoli Theater for over 50 years. Whereas the Tivoli Theater has been a popular destination for both locals and tourists and has hosted many notable events, including concerts, plays, and movies. Whereas the Tivoli Theater is a movie theater that was first built and opened on Christmas Day, 1928. It was the second theater in the U.S. to open for sound movies. Whereas the Tivoli Theater has played a central role in the art life of our community as a showcase for film, live theater, community discussions, pageants, school performances, and live music for nearly a century. Whereas Willis and Shirley Johnson purchased the Tivoli Theater in 1976 and began their work to restore this historic theater. Whereas since 1976, the Johnson family has purchased and restored several theaters located in the suburbs of Chicago and northern Illinois. Their work in restoring historic theaters is a testament to their commitment and preservation of history. Whereas the Downers Grove Historical Society will honor Willis and Shirley Johnson on May 2nd with a special premiere screening of a documentary. The documentary will include interviews with the Johnsons and their family members, as well as archival footage of the theater. Now therefore, I, Robert T. Barnett, Mayor of the Village of Downers Grove, do hereby proclaim the week of April 16th through 22nd, 2023, as Willis and Shirley Johnson Week in the Village of Downers Grove. And I congratulate the Johnson family on their accomplishments and thank them for their contributions to and support of our community. Dated this 18th day of April, 2023, Downers Grove, Illinois. Johnsons are with us tonight. I'd like to bring this down and present it to you guys. There we go.
Smile. There are a great number of things that make our community special, to be sure, and a great number of things that when you go outside of Downers Grove, you immediately recognize as being Downers Grove, and certainly the Tivoli Theater is one of them. It's a pretty neat honor, and I'm glad the Historical Society went down that road. Item 5 on our agenda, minutes of previous council meetings. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that the council adopt the April 11th, 2023 minutes as presented.
Second.
Any comments or questions on those minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved unanimously. Item 7 is our active agenda. We do not have an active agenda tonight. Item 8 is our first reading. This is,
I'm
yep.
sorry,
Consent.
the consent agenda.
You know, you would think after 4 years, somebody could figure this out. I blew right past the consent, didn't I? I apologize, guys. I don't know what happened to it. It got lost. So, consent agenda does not need any discussion, and fortunately, I have 6 colleagues that will help me through this meeting. Is there a motion concerning the consent agenda?
Mayor, I move that the council adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That, too, is approved unanimously. Thank you all. Greg and Nicole, thank you. So we'll move to our item 8, first reading. This is the portion of the meeting where we discuss subjects on which we do not plan to take final action tonight. These can be continuing conversations from prior meetings or meetings subjects we'll begin to discuss tonight. With that, I'll give it over to Dave Fieldman.
Thank you, Mayor Barnett. Just one item on tonight's first reading agenda. It's an ordinance approving an amendment to our budget for 2022. Some information was presented on this topic last week. Here to provide an additional update is our Finance Director, Robin Leahy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here today to present the fiscal year 2022 budget amendment. Actual fiscal year 2022 expenses ended the year below budgeted levels for most village funds. 2 funds were over budget and will require budget amendments. The first fund that requires a budget amendment is the general fund. At last week's council meeting, Dave presented the fiscal year 22 budget closeout, which highlighted the general fund's exceptional revenue performance. These results prompted transfers to the Equipment Replacement Fund, Fleet Maintenance Fund, Risk Fund, and the Debt Service Fund for the Civic Center project. For this reason, staff is requesting a budget amendment of $6.3 million in the general fund. The other fund that will require a budget amendment is the library fund. This fund will require a $50,000 budget amendment because they transferred more to their capital replacement fund than was budgeted. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Robin. Any comments or questions from the audience? Comments or questions from the council? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for our first reading tonight, Mayor.
Is there a manager's report?
There is. The Civic Center project was just mentioned by Director Leahy, and tonight we have an update from the project manager and deputy village manager, Mike Baker.
Thank you, Dave. We are very excited about the continued progress of construction of the Civic Center project as the building really starts to take shape now. This project remains on schedule and under budget. I'd also like to say that from a staff standpoint, we are extremely grateful and appreciative of the actions that this council took over several months to approve aspects of this project and lead us to the point that we're at today. And with that, I will show you the video that highlights some of the recent construction activity.
Thanks, Mike. Is there an attorney's report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Only one item to present tonight. That is an ordinance approving an amendment to Ordinance 5891 in the Village of Downers Grove budget for fiscal year 2022. That is all.
Thank you. Item 11 on our agenda is public comments. This is the portion of the meeting where we invite the public to comment on items not on other portions of the agenda. Are there any public comments this evening? Please come on down to the podium.
I almost didn't get here. I was helping with the Downers North track meet. I'm not going to steal your thunder. I just saw what you're doing next. But I wanted to personally thank you guys for, doing what you're doing. Rich, I know you're moving on to greener pastures or corn stalks or whatever they have over there. But I know you've been involved with many, many commissions and different, board memberships and stuff. So good luck with your next chapter. Nicole, I know you've been here for 6.5 years now on this, and I know we'll see your face with Rotary and other good stuff. So to continue on with the Thank You Fest, when I first started speaking up here, talked about the crazy traffic on Forest Avenue, I never thought that I would actually do something collective, bringing the community together and stuff. And when a couple of the different organizations couldn't do the the candidacies, getting people together to talk about the different things they're running for with mayor, village council, and D99 school board. I want to thank Dave and Enza for trusting me, and Doug Kozlowski for helping get it on the the YouTube channel. I think it was a great success. We worked with Hillary Dank, Amy Gasson I want to thank as well for being our moderator. Jim Toth, he was here last week. He's also the one that put together that nice video for the Tivoli, and they're outside right now taking pictures with the family. Anyways, it was good, and I think it proved its point with a lot of information. I was told, I don't know if this is true or not, but it had more hits or more views than any other item that's ever been on the Village YouTube channel. So I think it helped get the message out, and congratulations, Leslie and Bob. And last, to continue the Thank You Fest, no commentary on the 3 houses that came down on Main Street, but I was very happy to travel back and forth in my commute to see that the developer, Adam Berry with Barrier Construction, worked out an arrangement with the village to get the police department and the fire department in there to train. And they really trained, because if you saw it right before the buildings were taken down, they really, really made that thing Swiss cheese. I don't know exactly what the quote is, but the fire department and the police department are top-ranked nationally organizations, and it's due in large part because we give them good training opportunities like that. So that was real-life training. So anyways, that's great that you guys were able to work out something with that developer. And that's all I've got.
Thank you. Others? Comments not on tonight's agenda? Okay, we will continue down to item 12, which is the mayor's report. Every 2 years, our village reconsiders its leadership, and those that serve reconsider where best to put their efforts. This evening is the last full meeting with the council you'll see seated here tonight. Our next meeting, the first one in May, will be a transition meeting from this council to the next. Last time we did this in 2021 was all masks and dividers. It wasn't all that fun, so I'm glad we can connect a little better this evening. Commissioners Rich Cullivaney and Nicole Wallace chose to move on to other endeavors, so we want to take a few minutes this evening to recognize the work they've done and thank them for their service to our community. Everyone who serves in the Downers Grove Village Council has the opportunity to be a steward of their community. Stewardship is defined as the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. And selflessness is defined as the careful and responsible management of others. Commissioner Cullivaney and Wallace have been selfless stewards of the community they love and call home. Rich and Nicole, your community and colleagues recognize that some of those times weren't easy. So please know we all appreciate your sacrifice. Your village has a few small gifts to commemorate your service, and I know your colleagues all have a few things they'd like to say as well. I promise it won't be a roast. But let's start with Rich anyway. Danny, you have a few things to say?
Sure. Commissioner Cullivaney, I just want to thank you for your dedication to this council and to this village. It has always been clear to me how much you truly cared about Downers Grove, the north side, and even, yes, the south side. Your passion is obvious. You are a wealth of knowledge, and you always dive deep into your research, giving 110% to the residents at all times. And not just when things are juicy. Even in the minor, sometimes overlooked items, you always dive deep. I can say with confidence that Downers Grove is better for having Rich Colavani serve on this council, and I hope that you're super proud of everything that you've accomplished here. It's been a pleasure to serve with you, and I look forward to seeing what you do with your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rich, it's been truly a pleasure serving with you for the last 2 years. Your involvement in the village has been inspiring in so many different ways, from your time on the zoning board, on plan commission, your involvement with the Downers Grove Historical Society and the Heritage Alliance, and of course, here on council. You have truly walked the walk in your commitment to the vibrancy of Downers Grove while still looking to preserve its vibrant history. Your involvement, in fact, comes from having lived here almost your whole life, right? And it's, I think, provided me, and I hope the remainder of the council, an informed and unique perspective on the matters that have come before us. You've been well-rounded in your understanding of our community, and that's been invaluable to us as a council. I think what I've learned from you is the importance of reflecting on the impact of our decisions beyond just the facts and expected outcomes of whatever matter might be before us at any given time. I've also been inspired by the respect that you show your elected position, by how prepared you have been at every meeting, the thoughtful research, and the way you approach agenda items week after week, and the means by which you engage in meaningful dialogue and discussion as we seek to find the best solutions for Downers Grove. In 2019, when I threw my hat in the ring to be appointed to the council, but didn't get it, you were the first to reach out with an email of encouragement to say, please stay involved. And that meant a lot to me. In no small way was that an impact on my decision to run and be here. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to now have served alongside you. I think we can all be certain your departure from the council does not mean the end of your involvement in our community. The passion for Downers Grove is deeply ingrained. And I know that you've got the village best interests always in mind. We are all incredibly fortunate to have someone like you on the council, and I look forward to witnessing the positive impact your future endeavors will undoubtedly have. Thanks so much.
Leslie.
Yep. So Rich, first, I am so grateful that our goodbye is now on your own terms so that you can spend time with your family. I am going to miss your goofy dad jokes, your history and just knowledge of how this village has progressed over time, and your thoughtfulness and consideration on every issue. I appreciate the collaboration with you on tree preservation and environmental efforts, and will do my best to continue that legacy. Your history on the Plan Commission, throughout the Historical Society, working on the downtown design guidelines, and perhaps that left turn lane that we might be naming after you. Your history and your legacy is going to live on, long beyond our years. I know you'll continue your work through volunteering with other local organizations, even from afar, and I really hope we find a way to work together on these issues moving forward. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure serving with you.
Nicole.
Thank you, Mayor. Rich, I typically write things down and plan everything out, but when I thought about doing that tonight, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I really felt like I just needed to speak on the fly with you. Rich and I, had it not been for me being in this position, our paths probably never would have crossed. We are in very different parts of our life, and I could not be more thankful and grateful that we met. Rich is so passionate about everything that he does. Everything, not just this, but everything. And just wanted to share a little anecdotal story of his character. Mark was on a business trip in Arizona, and I had both girls at home by myself and was trying to manage work, picking one up from this school, one up from daycare, and my car had died in my garage. And at that moment, I called Mark, and he was like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm in Arizona. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to do, and I have to get these kids. And Rich and I happen to live near each other, and I texted him, and I'm like, hey, can you come and jump my car? And I have a hybrid, so it's in a weird spot. So we're both climbing through my car in these little, trying to figure everything out, tearing it apart. And we got it started and fixed so that I could go to work the next day. And Rich, it was immediately, he was at my house. Yes, how can I help? How can we fix this? And so I will be forever grateful for our friendship, for having met you, for your passion for this community and trees. And I truly wish you the best as you move forward here. But happy to know you and call you friend, Rich.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Greg?
Thank you, Mayor. All of the comments about your passion and your love for this village and the work that we do are completely and totally correct, and they cannot be overstated. The commitment that you have shown through some of the most trying, difficult, horrendous times that anybody could experience is truly remarkable, and it's an inspiration to me, and I think it is to all of us. Yeah, the joy that you bring to the job, that just it permeates everything you talk about. Everybody can tell by the level of preparation, by the commitment to talking to residents, by the commitment to talking to all of us, that you just have an undying love for this village and the work that we have all done over the period of your last 4 years. And it has truly been a privilege. And Leslie joked about the Culvaney left, but you kind of stole my thunder there. But I think the true legacy, really, if we want to talk about one of the accomplishments over the last 4 years, I think is the downtown design guidelines. That is a way in which you have truly left your imprint on everything that will be built in our downtown for generations to come. And that is a legacy and something to really be proud of. And I'm proud of it, and I'm proud to have worked with you on it, and I hope you're incredibly proud of it too. Rich, it's been an honor, and we are better for your service. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. Do a little narration of Rich.
Are you going to look to your left first?
I might. Rich's Downers Grove roots run deep. His family moved into the home his father built when Rich was just 10 months old. He and his two brothers, Bob and Tom, went to Whittier, O'Neill, and Downers South. Then Rich married his high school sweetheart, Kathleen Callahan, from Woodridge in 1972. They now have grandchildren who are also growing up in the village. Rich and Kathy raised their 3 children in Downers Grove, Jennifer, Mike, and Jim. And they now have 10 grandchildren. Since returning to his hometown in Downers Grove, Rich has seldom missed an opportunity to serve his community. Rich was elected to the Village Council in April of 2019. Prior to serving on the council, Rich served on the Downers Grove Plan Commission from 2017 to 2019, the Zoning Board of Appeals from 2015 to 2017. Prior to his service as a Village Council official, he attended and participated in a lot of Village Council meetings. A lot of them. From 2015 through 2019. He also attended our long-range planning, budget, stormwater facility workshops, and most of the ad hoc committee meetings, historic preservation, and comprehensive plan meetings. Rich was all in on Downers Grove. Shortly after the 2019 election, Rich and I met over a cup of coffee. And Rich made a real point of wanting to be part of a team. And that's an interesting ask. Many folks that run for elected office start a conversation like that with a list of their ideas. But not Rich. Rich immediately recognized that a council works best for the residents it serves if it works as a team. Commissioner Culvaney has been a fantastic team member, and the team, your village council, has been much stronger for his contributions. That's not to say Rich didn't have his own list. When he campaigned for council in 2019, he said he wanted to make Downers a better place to dine, shop, live, and work, and open a business. And indeed, I'd suggest he succeeded on all points. As a commissioner, Rich's contributions were many, significant, and lasting. Commissioner Cullivaney was the primary driving force, as Greg said, behind our updating our downtown design guidelines, ensuring downtown development is the highest aesthetic and architectural quality for years and years to come. Commissioner Cullivaney was a strong and consistent advocate for permanent outdoor dining downtown. Rich was the most consistent council voice supporting historic preservation, demonstrating a passion for preserving our physical and cultural heritage in this village. And he used a hands-on approach for that work, engaging local non-for-profit organizations to landmark notable properties. Rich did a lot of the work he suggested be done. He didn't just tell folks to do it. Rich led on financial sustainability, making sure the village continued its history of keeping taxes low and controlling costs. And Rich was a leading advocate for slowing the spread of COVID by following IPDH recommendations. COVID, however, I can't get away without mentioning this, nearly robbed us of Rich's contributions. For those that may not know, Rich contracted COVID in December of 2020. 99 days later, after being on a ventilator and in a coma, he was finally able to go home. But through it all, Rich remained committed to his faith, his family, and his community. Rich's candor and sincerity are models for all of us, and his willingness to listen and consider other viewpoints are examples of good leadership. Thank you, Rich, for your service to the community. Thank you for your counsel as part of this team, and thank you for your friendship. We've got a little thing for you. Let's come on down and do it formally. And I'm not sure where to put this, but you can find it this way. Right above the left turn lane. You're right.
I thought I wasn't going to cry, but that's too late. So your words are so meaningful to me and really touched my heart. I don't usually write out my presentation, but this time I wanted to see if I could speak in a meaningful way in less than 5 minutes. So here goes. It has been a sincere honor to serve in the village where I grew up and have lived roughly 80% of my life. Kathy and I raised our 3 children, Jennifer, Mike, and Jim here, and they in turn raised 8 of our 10 grandchildren here. And now we have a great-granddaughter growing up in this village. This means that 6 generations of my family have lived in Downers Grove. It has been a real pleasure to work with you, Mayor, and my fellow commissioners during these past 4 years. Many people know that Bob and I came out of different camps politically, but we started from day one with a commitment to communicate regularly, talk about everything, and strive to reach consensus, which occurred most of the time. And when we couldn't reach consensus, we did so in a way that would allow us to move forward respectfully and still continue to work together on important issues. And not let the ill feelings move into future decisions. In doing this, we came to know each other, trust each other, and we become true friends. This council and previous councils have come a long way to reduce the counterproductive factionalism that exists in many communities. The respect we have for each other and the way we treat each other, even when we disagree, increased trust, made us more effective as a team, even though we see things differently, and allowed us to focus on those things that are important for Downers Grove and avoid animosities. I am proud to have worked with Village Manager Dave Fieldman, Attorney Enza Petrarca, and Deputy Village Manager Mike Baker. Many thanks to our fine village clerk, Rosa Berardi, who works diligently each and every week to get the job done. I also want to thank all the department heads for the amazing job that you do and show up in all the awards that Downers Grove keeps winning, including ISO 1 for Fire Department, Kalia Gold for Police Department, the top 50 greenest fleets out of 38,000 in North America, Distinguished Budget Awards, Public Works Awards, Tree City USA for 37 years, and even 2 Savvy Awards for Bee's Eye View and Night at the Firehouse. Congratulations, Doug. Well earned. These fine people led their teams of dedicated village employees who work hard to help make Downers Grove a wonderful place to live. On a personal level, I am proud of the downtown design review that we're able to put in place to help ensure that we have high-quality buildings that will attract diners, shoppers, new restaurants, new businesses, and new residents to this town. I'm also very pleased that we were able to get the Parkway Tree Protection Ordinance passed and that this council made real progress in moving towards a tree protection ordinance that, when passed, will help keep the grove in Downers Grove while also protecting property rights. It is laudable that we have planted 1,836 trees during my 4 years in office and a total of 5,281 trees in the past 10 years. That shows our real commitment to that and very important thing. I'm proud that we have kept our operating budget levy flat since I've been in office and that we have a surplus that will be used prudently to shore up various reserve funds and make the right kind of investments in our village. I'm also extremely excited that after so many years of study and discussion, this village council finally moved forward on the new civic center that will serve the village of Downers Grove and D58 for 100 years to come. That is a real legacy of this council. And we're doing it in an environmentally responsible way that people can look to us for as an example. Serving through a period of civil unrest and COVID has been challenging indeed, but it has also been gratifying time to serve. Our residents pulled together, supported local restaurants and businesses so that they could survive and stay open. Outdoor dining in Downers Grove became the silver lining that came out of this terrible pandemic that could have decimated our restaurants. But instead, we have a much more festive, vibrant, and almost vacation-like atmosphere in strolling and dining in downtown Downers Grove. Even though it is sad for me to leave, I am excited about the new village council moving forward to continue making Downers Grove one of the best places to live in the United States. I charge the next council to continue building on the foundation that this and previous councils have built and continue to make us proud of our beloved village. And the final thanks I want to give to my wife of 50 years, Kathleen, who stood behind me and allowed me to do all this stuff with total understanding and just letting me off the leash to do these things. And you've been my rock through all these years, and I love you so much. And I thank you for supporting us and supporting what we've been trying to do here. So thank you all so much.
Commissioner Wallace. Danny, you want to start us off?
Rich almost made me cry there. First of all, I want to thank Commissioner Wallace for your service to Downers Grove, and mostly for being someone I can go to from the very beginning for advice and direction. I remember first telling you that I was going to be running for office, and your reaction, because you knew the commitment and time it took to juggle your role as commissioner, your job as a teacher, a volunteer, a mom, and a wife, and you crush it. You and Mark are some of the most selfless, actually you, Mark, Leah, and Michaela, because they often join you, are some of the most selfless, giving, caring people I have ever met, with your time, your actions, and even your Downers Grove restaurant dinner rotations. And if you were lucky enough to get your hands on this month's Downers Grove Living magazine, you would know that there is no family more Downers Grove than the Wallace family. I am happy this is not goodbye, because knowing you, this is probably just freeing up your time, specifically Tuesday nights, to volunteer for something else. And I'm lucky enough to consider you and Mark friends of mine, and I look forward to many more years of friendship and not having to worry about what I say. It's been a pleasure serving with you. Look forward to many years of friendship.
Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. Nicole, what an honor it's been to serve with you these last 2 years. Your time on the council has been marked by unwavering dedication to our community and the many strengths you've displayed during your tenure. You're often the first to recognize the great work of our village staff, and your genuine care for our community shines in every decision that you make. You've never been afraid to vocalize your position or listen to opposing sides on issues, demonstrating the open-mindedness that defines effective leadership. With your kind and funny demeanor, you've always brought a sense of warmth and camaraderie to this council. Your empathetic leadership style has made you an invaluable asset to this council, and we've all been enriched by your presence. You've also committed your life to helping others as a teacher, as a village commissioner. Your volunteerism with the Rotary Club and the Grove Express Foundation shows your unwavering commitment to our community. If Downers Grove had a spokesperson, Nicole, it would be you. Your love for the village seems boundless. During my time working alongside with you, I've learned invaluable lessons from you, one of which is the importance of taking time with vote decisions. I initially believed that matters before the council would be fairly black and white. This is not the case, for those who are listening. You were the first to share this lesson with me, and for that I'm grateful. I also learned from you the power of sharing the details of your decision-making process with our residents. Not only your willingness to share how you came to a decision, but also your willingness to be vulnerable and share some of the mental gymnastics and stressful rounds that we all go through. Oftentimes it was you expressing that, but I know you were expressing what many of us were feeling. I wish you the best in your future endeavors. I'm so excited to see what the next chapter holds for you, Nicole, and I have no doubt you will continue to have a meaningful impact on this community and beyond. Thank you for your selfless service, your dedication, and for making Downers Grove a better place for us all. Thank you.
Leslie?
Yes. So Nicole, it has been wonderful serving with someone as empathetic and thoughtful as you are. I'm going to miss your perspective as a teacher, as a fellow mother, but I understand that as your kids get older and busier, you have to prioritize yourself sometimes, and that's a really tough lesson to learn. I appreciate the fact that on any issue, I knew I could give you a call and talk through it with no bias and no judgment. I really appreciated your guidance as I kind of, came into my own here on the dais. I've never wavered and have always known that you have the best interest of the village at heart. And I have no doubt that you'll continue to serve Downers Grove through your volunteer activities. And I look forward to seeing you back here, promoting some of those hopefully one day. Thank you so much for 4 great years.
Rich?
Well, I'm going to start with my first impressions. Some of you may know that most Tuesday nights I sat somewhere over there and watched, and Nicole was newly appointed to the council. I didn't know that she had any previous involvement with politics or things of a civic nature, and I knew she had 2 small kids and a somewhat crazy husband. I understand he plays in a rock band. Is that still correct? I thought so. He had 3 kids. You had 3 kids at home that you had to worry about, and I thought, well, how are you going to juggle all of this? And I think I noticed you take your time to absorb a lot. You didn't speak a lot at some of those meetings, but I think you were finding your voice and finding your center. But undergirding all of that was your passion, your love for this village, and everything Downers Grove. You inspired us through the pandemic from reminding us that our businesses need us, and we need our businesses. So, keep shopping locally. I've seen you grow into this position with your passion unbridled and your interest in this village succeeding, and that comes through in everything you do. Oftentimes I'd call you and ask her for your opinion, and you'd surprise me because I would expect something else, but you always left me with a kernel of something that perhaps I didn't think about. So I understand that you're going to be investing more time in your family, but I don't think this will be the last time you'll be serving in an amazing capacity. Thank you so much for your friendship. First, when I was sick, I had a very serious hamstring tear, and you helped to arrange to get food to us, and then coming home from so many days in the hospital, embracing Kathy and help us out, that meant a lot to me as well, and I know you were the center of that. So thank you for your service, thank you for your passion, and thank you for your walk-in music. And hopefully you'll be able to tell us how many days to Rotary Grove.
Greg?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I really don't know what we're going to do without the walk-up music. You're going to have to send us
Someone's
a
going to have
playlist.
to take it over. Sorry.
We've got to pick someone. From the very beginning, when you applied for the vacancy that you ultimately got, your resume just jumped out of the stack. Looking at your background as a teacher, now involved in social work, involved in so many different organizations, I remember calling up several of our colleagues who were about to become your colleagues, saying, we got to have Nicole. Like, this is the way it has to be. And I can't believe that here we are, and I'm going to look down the dais on a Tuesday, and you're not going to be sitting here. It's just that's Tuesday. We're having a council meeting, and Nicole's seconding motions, and we're talking about the issues, and she's going to have a perspective that is perfectly informed and very in tune with the community. She's going to have taken the time to listen to absolutely everyone, and yeah, we all struggle with the decision making, and you did put that on display, and it benefits all of us because these are tough decisions. Now you get the occasional black and white, but most of them are some shade of gray, and the putting that out there for people to see that hey, we take our time with this and we think about it is a testament to your preparation, your work, and the juggling that goes on in ordinary life. And it has been a pleasure to serve with you, an honor to watch you work and watch you serve the community. And I know you'll continue to. And I look forward to future updates on Grove Fest. I imagine you'll be standing at the podium every now and then. And I mean this as a comment on both you and Rich. I think it's been very important with both of you that it's impossible to put, I think, this entire council, and especially the two of you, in sort of a partisan lens. You approach things from a very common sense point of view, a very thoughtful point of view, taking in all of the feedback that you receive. And that's a very important thing, because the jobs that we're here to do are very serious, and they require that kind of, that thought, that devotion, and the enthusiasm that you bring to it. And I'm going to miss that. So thank you for your service. We are all better off for it. Thank you.
When I think of Nicole, the only thing that pops into my head over and over again is community. Commissioner Wallace is also always thinking of community. Community first in every decision that she makes. And it has been really comforting to sit up here and know that that was the driver behind your decision-making process. Nicole grew up in a service-oriented environment. Her mother always stressed the importance of helping others and giving back. Apparently that stuck. Her father served the community she grew up in as well as a police officer and sergeant for 30 years. When Nicole graduated from Bradley University with a bachelor's degree in history, secondary education, and music, then got a master's degree in education administration and another degree teaching and learning in 17. That tells you a lot. Through all that, Nicole was serving her community. It's huge. Nicole and her husband Mark have been residents of Downers Grove since 2010. Lived near Downers South High School in Rich's neighborhood on the south side of town.
South side.
South side. During her time up here, Nicole made some real marks. She was an advocate of our reinvestment in human services, helping drive the council to reconstitute the Human Service Commission. She was a strong advocate for relaunching the HSC and directing them to provide recommendations on how the village should work on social issues. Commissioner Wallace spoke clearly and forcefully, helping push us to hire a social worker, ensuring the village is properly staffed to connect residents in need social services with the agencies that provide those services. The perspective, this council is made up of multiple perspectives, and Nicole's of education and kids and care and community is one that will be missed. It is one that we will miss sorely. Nicole's been a constant voice for financial sustainability, and she's worked to help keep our tax burden low. She's constantly asked the question, is it necessary? Could we do it another way? It's important to think of these things. And when COVID reared its ugly head, Nicole stepped up as a lead advocate for efforts to slow the spread of the disease. Everybody on this council stepped up, and Nicole did it again from a perspective that we just don't have, one of dealing with kids every day and dealing with other institutions, and it helped. It helped all of us make our own decisions. Nicole's been a valuable part of this team and has helped bring a voice full of compassion, caring, and pragmatism to our conversations. And when conversations drift, and they always do, and when others up here get wound up in the details, one thing I remember Nicole always doing, it seemed like, is breaking through that knot with some clarity and some simplicity. Some real life, real parent, real teacher conversation and comments that brought us back to the center. It was often easy to get up here on those gray subjects that we talked about and get in the weeds. And Nicole would straighten us out. And that's going to be missed. It's going to be missed a lot. I think that has to do with being a teacher. Helping the council refocus is a skill that we're going to have to replace somehow. And I'm not real sure how. So Nicole, thank you for all you've done for Downers Grove. And thank you for what you've done for this council. You've helped us get the work done, and you've helped us serve our community. Thank you so much. Got some stuff for you. You might be able to guess what's on this. I would not do that for girls. I can argue that my This is probably not a surprise, but nonetheless cool. Absolutely.
So I have always tried to be very concise and short with my comments. So I hope that my colleagues will indulge me a little bit as they are a bit longer this evening. But I just kind of felt like I had to tell a little bit of a story and talk about the experience that I've had here. So in the fall of 2016, during a casual conversation at a Rotary event, I was encouraged to apply for a newly opened seat on the Downers Grove Village Council. Admittedly, I knew very little about what serving in this capacity entailed. I had just had my second child a little over a year earlier, and my life was not what it used to be. As someone who has always been involved in many things, I had cut back significantly in 2013 when my first daughter was born, focusing only on being a mother, teacher, and Rotarian. After a discussion with my husband, Mark, I decided to apply. When I was appointed, I truly thought I would be in this position for 6 months as a fill-in. Before I knew it, it was election season, and I had to decide whether to run for the rest of my term, which was another 2 years, or for a 4-year seat, or whether to run at all. And I decided to run for the rest of my term in 2017, simply to learn some more and finish what I had started for the next 2 years. When it was time to consider running again in 2019, I still felt unfinished, and here we are. I never set out thinking that I would do this for as long as I have. Contrary to some belief out there, I never meant for this to be a springboard to something else, whether it be county board or Congress. I won't say a career change would or could never happen, because this experience has also taught me to never say never. But it's not for right now. As awful as the COVID-19 pandemic was, it helped me to recognize some things that solidified that decision. My youngest daughter doesn't remember a time when I wasn't serving in this capacity. I would argue my oldest likely doesn't either. When I started, they were 3 years old and 16 months old, and now they are almost 10 and almost 8, and they are still not thrilled about my weekly Tuesday meetings. The people in village staff roles work their tails off and are truly a talented group of people. I need to thank primarily Dave Fieldman, Enza Petrarca, Mike Baker, and Doug Kozlowski. They have taught me so much and have endured all of my quirkiness, between my walk-up music or coming to my individual work meetings after hours in my pajamas. You have my utmost respect, and I'm so thankful to have gotten to know all of you and work with you in this capacity. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the best first responders in the country, our Downers Grove Police Department and our Downers Grove Fire Department. I am so grateful for their talent and professionalism. I've also had the great pleasure of now serving on 3 different councils. Each one of you have taught me something about myself, and I will never forget serving with you. Only people that have ever served in this capacity truly know what it's like, both the amazing moments and the difficulties that surround this position. The biggest thank you goes to my husband, Mark, and my daughters, Leah and Michaela, for enduring my frequent absences for meetings, events, to look through paperwork, to spend hours educating myself on topics, for being patient when I had to take so many phone calls at all hours of the day, many of which they had to listen to, when I had to spend more of our family time answering emails, campaigning, and so much more. To my girls, I hope this has shown you the incredible strength of women and all the things we can achieve with continued learning and growing and hard work, the importance of serving others, and the joy that comes from being involved and immersing yourself in the community you reside in. Mark probably never knew what he was getting into when he married me, even though he has known me since 1998. It has certainly not always been easy navigating our way through all of this. We've been far from perfect, and we've had our share of difficult moments in the last 6.5 years trying to manage everything we do in our lives. But our partnership, teamwork, continued work on ourselves and on our family made this possible, along with his support of my passions. When I first started in this role and told people about myself, one of the first questions many people asked was, "Do you have a nanny?" And I would laugh and say, "Nope, it's all on us." I never ever could have done this without him. What some people don't know is Mark is an incredibly talented leader in his own right, And when I was elected to this position, he put many of his own ambitions on the back burner. And now that I am taking a step back, it's time for him to take a step forward. And I'm so proud that he has assumed the role of president of the Grove Express 5K Foundation this year, in addition to his lead on sponsorships for Rotary Grove Fest. I love you, and I'm proud of us and what we continue to create and cultivate. This job has taught me so much about myself, about other people, about society, and about the world we live in that continues to flex and change. I never thought in my wildest dreams I would be serving as an elected official, much less serving during a global pandemic. I never thought I would meet some of the greatest people in this role, some whom I have come to care deeply about. In these 6.5 years, I've learned it's okay to not be everybody's cup of tea, to be too much or too little for some people. I've solidified my knowledge of the importance of getting to know people before judging, that most times there's more than what is on the surface, what political party you affiliate yourself with, or where in town you live. I've learned that I am so passionate about the success of our local businesses, and I've learned that I love this community more than I ever thought possible. I always wondered why people thought serving in this capacity was such a big deal and why they were so emotional when they left. We are, after all, just council people in a community of 50,000 people in one town out of the entire country. Now I know, because if you do this right, you end up pouring your heart, soul, and precious time into this role. Being in this position allowed me to find a part of myself again that had gotten lost along the way, and I'm so thankful for that. I believe that each person's life consists of focal points. These moments may seem like fate, sometimes even feel preordained, and these shape and eventually cement one's direction. This was a focal point for me, and so I will not say goodbye. This is so long for now. I will continue to be as engaged as possible in the greatest community for as long as I am able. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to serve in this role and represent Downers Grove. It has been one of the greatest honors of my life, and I will always be forever grateful for this experience. Thank you all.
There are hundreds of decisions that a council member makes during their tenure, many which require the same effort as those which make the headlines but which go unnoticed. Rich Cullivaney and Nicole Wallace will be remembered as key members of a village leadership that brought our community through COVID, that doubled down on civil rights, that improved the village's care of our residents, laid out a long-term plan for our downtown, and solved the village hall and police station question that vexed us for decades. Their focus on the hard work at hand, their desire to place community and people first, and their commitment to teamwork should serve as shining examples for all in Downers Grove. But lastly, I wanted to offer one additional thank you this evening to those family members that support our council. So to Kathy and Jen, Mike and Jim, Mark, Leah, and Michaela. On this evening in particular, and on behalf of the Village of Downers Grove, thank you all. You are what makes this possible. So one more round of applause, please, for the families. With that, we will continue to see if there are any other council member reports. Report outs on other goings on in the community, how many days are left to certain events, anything like that. Danny, we'll start with you.
No report, thank you, Mayor.
Chris?
No report. Thank you, Mayor.
Rich?
I have two reports. First, on behalf of the Downers Grove Historical Society, The documentary about the Johnsons at the Tivoli is next Tuesday. It starts at 6 p.m. and continues on from there. You go to dghistory.org, and May 2nd is the date, Tuesday, May 2nd. And secondly, the Friends of the Edwards House and Pierce Downer Heritage Alliance are hosting a special event called Our Precious Grove. The date is Thursday, May 4th, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Altar Brewing. It's part of the Founders Day festivities. And in this case, Dr. M. Isabel Loza Rivera of the Global Tree Conservation Program at the Morton Arboretum will describe their work in other botanic gardens to help preserve the existence of tree species. Dr. Rivera will focus on oaks that are under threat from habitat loss and disease. Oaks are ecologically, economically, and culturally important. She will share strategies for conservation of oaks, including conservation planning, population recovery, and restoration. Once again, Thursday, May 4th, 6:30 at Altar Brewing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Rich. Leslie?
No report. Thank you, Mayor.
Nicole?
I feel a little pressure. I don't know how many days are until Grove Fest, but it's Thursday, June 22nd until Sunday, June 25th. And as always, the weather's going to be amazing. I already know that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Greg?
I have no report, Mayor. Thank you.
I have nothing else to add for the evening. Is there a motion to adjourn?
One last time. Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all and good night.